Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with a short review of the Russian Grand Prix in 2014. Haven't done one of these in a long time, but I really actually wanted to talk about the Russian Grand Prix because obviously it was the first one that we have had, and I really enjoyed it actually. It wasn't exactly the most thrilling race in the world, but overall I thought the event was pretty good. I mean, they put on a pretty good show, some really good battles down the field. Overall, the race for the win wasn't that great, but I think the race had some pretty good battles down the field. So, and by the way, in the background you're going to be seeing some F1 2014 gameplay as Lewis Hamilton. So, let's talk about the start, because it was a pretty hectic start in a way. There are lots of cars all over the place at turn 2, and most notably, Nico Rosberg getting a decent start, not that great, but the sort of second phase of the start where he got into the slipstream of Hamilton, then alongside, was the key bit. Then he got alongside, and literally as we went down to turn 1, he just locked up his brakes, just braked a little bit too late, braked a little bit too hard, and locked up both front wheels, or front tyres I should say, whatever you want to say, down to turn 1, went all over the place, all over the runoff on the outside, and he got the lead initially, but had to give the lead back to Hamilton, then giving up the place, or even more places, having to come in the pits to change tyres, which he actually eventually went on to finish the race on. So he made, I think, was it 52 laps on the same set of tyres, which is really just crazy how on earth he did that. But we don't really know how really fast the Mercedes was really in race trim today. It was really kind of hard to tell on sort of optimal fuel, optimal tyres and everything, how quick they were. Hamilton wasn't pushing out front. Rosberg had old tyres, so kind of hard to judge them. But yeah, so Rosberg came in, went down to last place. Hamilton was leading, with Bottas chasing hard. It's got to be said, for the first 20 odd laps, Bottas was very close, that sort of 3, 4, 5 second margin from Hamilton to Bottas out front, which I thought was pretty good. Bottas really keeping his chances of, keeping a good podium position really alive, which he did. Keep going towards the end of the race, so that's good to see Bottas very strong once again, and always fighting up with the big guns, even though he doesn't have the car to do so. So that's good to see with Bottas. And in the gameplay in the background, make a big mistake here, nearly going into the wall. And I've got to say, the track is really fun to drive. This, I think, was the first time I'd driven it properly on this game. I think I'd done a couple of laps before, but overall the track is very good. A lot of parts remind me of Valencia. And even though it didn't have a huge amount of overtaking today, we did see some good moves, which was good. No sort of crazy moves or dive bombs or anything, except from turn 1 with Rosberg, which I think was just a pure mistake. But overall, some great clean racing, and I think the Russian Grand Prix will be staying on the calendar for many years down the road, because it did provide a very good race for us here today. And apart from the first stint, there wasn't really much going on, except from both the Toro Rossos having initially decent starts, and then falling down the field with, I guess, just bad race run, just bad race run pace, if that makes any sense. Just, they didn't have any pace in the race runs, especially on the hard tyres. It looked like they were really slow. Ricciardo jumped early on his pit stop. I think he came in before lap 20 to put his prime tyres on, which he went to the end of the race on as well. And it didn't work out too great to start off with. He lost a couple of positions, I think, but towards the end of the race, it didn't look too bad. His strategy, obviously, going onto those tyres early, he got some extra speed from that, and obviously going on to get a decent result in the end. So I think Ricciardo's strategy, very different to the rest, but overall getting him a decent result. He's really just battling his teammate today. He was a little bit behind Alonso, but in all honesty, just didn't seem to have that extra pace that could have got him that position. And unfortunately for him, he just couldn't get past Alonso at the end. He just didn't have the tyres, and just didn't have that straight line speed. But overall, there weren't that many dramas throughout the race. A couple of slow pit stops, but nothing that notable. And really, Hamilton just brought home a really easy race win for him. Obviously, it's not that easy to drive a Formula 1 car, but in relative terms of race wins this season, it was pretty easy for him to just bring home that victory. And somehow, Rosberg managed to get up to second place. There really wasn't much going on in the middle end part of the race, really. And Rosberg, even though there wasn't a safety car or anything, somehow managed to fight his way through the field, get past Bottas, and obviously the car's behind. He came out just in front of Button actually out of his pit stop, who initially they thought he'd be racing, but Rosberg put on some stellar laps in the middle part of the race really to really get up to the back of Bottas after he'd stopped, and then go and take that position, and then go and get, what, a 5-6 second gap, which Bottas sort of started, he started getting a little bit of the gap back, but really at the end of the day, he couldn't get that gap back. He just didn't have the pace in the car to do so. And yeah, I don't know whether I've really explained this race very well in this video, guys. It's all up to you whether you want me to do more of these in the future. I wasn't really too short to do today in terms of a video, but you guys really wanted to see some Russian Grand Prix gameplay, which I've got in the background. I'm talking about the race, hopefully that's alright. And yeah, I'd say driver of the day, it's got to be Hamilton, really. He really just drove a great race, and he didn't make that mistake at the start. I mean, obviously Rosberg did a great comeback to come home second, but really the driver of the day has to be, or the driver of the weekend really, must be Lewis Hamilton. Just put on a great performance. Pole, gets the win. Didn't get fastest lap. That went to Bottas right on the last lap. But overall, good stuff from Hamilton. I think he does get the driver of the weekend or driver of the day award. Now, obviously, Bottas ended up third after all of the crazy stuff that happened to him in terms of right behind Hamilton, then dropping back, then pit stop, then getting Rosberg overtaken by Rosberg, I should say. So Bottas had a pretty crazy race in that aspect, but overall he came home third, which would be good for him. And yeah, not too bad. Then Button obviously in fourth, so that's good for him. McLaren getting ahead of Force India in the Constructors' Championship, which is good for them. And Button once again really showing he deserves that McLaren seat for next year. So overall, guys, I hope this video was somewhat interesting. I don't really know whether I really explained the race very well, but let me know if you want me to do more of these in the future. I've not done one of these in quite a long time, as I said, so maybe I've got a bit rusty on what I need to actually talk about. So let me know what I can improve on these videos for the future. Let me know if you want to see more. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow will be a 100% race. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. It's been Alex. I'm out of here. Goodbye.